just absolutely right. I mean, it really is making sure we step back and look at things on an individual basis. I mean, that's something I know that you and I both strive to do, and make sure that we're really listening to individuals and really hearing what they're trying to do. It could be concerns, it could be just aspirations that they have, but all of that is important to figure out. And I like to call that kind of getting below the waterline. What I mean by that is really getting to know someone, really getting to understand their family dynamic, trying to really figure out what are they trying to do. Not everybody, like you have said in the past, middle America, there's a lot more people in middle America than any other segment of our population. You have a lot of people that have family units that are trying to just get by, trying to probably dual income, and most households anymore is dual income. It didn't used to be that way, but it is today. And with having dual income, mom and dad, or potentially if they have kids, are running around like crazy, like you and I, our families are. Our lives are wrapped around our families. I know we're both very involved fathers. It's not all up to our wives that are handling everything. We're running kids around, we're participating in what other activities they're in, whether it's sports, whether it's school related, where it might be a choir or a band or whatever someone's doing. We are very involved in those kinds of things, to where their people's days are limited because they're running to point A to point B, meaning, hey, I might be going from the house to work to school, or work to an away game, or work to a home game, or work to practice, and then try to get back and get practice, and then try to make dinner and all these kind of things. If we don't really understand what people's lives are consisted of, and we're just wasting people's time by having an hour and a half long conversation about what we think is necessary, not what they do, we're just wasting everyone's time, and we're not listening to them, and we're not paying attention to what's really going on in their life. And I just think that's a big piece that's missing in the financial world today, is that I just don't think enough people are listening to others, to their potential clients, that really understand what they're doing, because we're all very, very similar individual people. Our lives are very similar. If you have children and you're doing these kind of things, our lives are very intertwined. There's a lot of similarities in our lives, in our households, and we're not unique. I just think there's a lot of people like us that are out there running around, and next thing you know, what's today, the 18th of August, and you and I have had these conversations. How are we already at that point of the year? And that consistently happens to households. They don't know where the time goes. So next thing they'll be like you were saying a little bit ago, well, I don't even look at my statements. I don't even pay attention to that money. Well, that's because more times than not, you're focused on what's happening in your house. You're not paying attention to what, hey, I'm setting this aside for later. And you're not thinking about later. You're not thinking about 20 years from now. You're thinking about present day, because your day is so busy. So if you just can get people to slow down, take a deep breath, communicate, and open up about what's happening in their life, what do they truly, most people have not set goals for themselves for 20 years down the road, or whether it's for education for their kids, retirement, to be able to replace cars if it's necessary. I mean, all these big ticket items that are required within our lives are not something that people really put together and think about consistently. They think about the then and now, not what's happening later. They're only living in the present most times, which is, I completely understand it, because I do it every single day. It's hard for me to believe that a week passes and it feels like it's a day. So I just think being able to get people to truly look at what's going on in their life, getting below that waterline, and really having a conversation with people is so very important.
Well, and what you just said is powerful, man, because a lot of times when you have somebody who's their money's in the market, especially right now with what's going on, a lot of them aren't present. Like they're not even capable of being present, because they're so concerned about the future and concerned about what's going to happen to my nest egg. We put this money in here to get to a certain point in life, and now that time's coming. And I mean, people aren't even allowed to be present. So some of the products and some of the ways that we help our clients, Ron, I didn't understand it until you just said that. But a lot of times we're positioning them to where they can be at peace. and they can rest.